Stats and Information Network, SiriusXM Channel 204, and VSiN.com.
All right, the Major League Baseball meetings underway here in Las Vegas, and that means the man about baseball, the Mad Dog himself, Mr. Russo.
You are looking live.
Him right here.
My main man.
It's the main man. Dog.
How you doing, Brent? Things good?
We're doing great. We're doing great. What went on? Did Bryce Harper sign with anybody?
No, nothing today. I tell you what I went crazy about today.
Go ahead.
And I did a big monologue on the TV, and they let me do it. I killed Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Harold Baines is not a Hall of Fame baseball player. And they got in the Hall of Fame today on that committee. You know, that there's a new committee.
Veterans Committee?
Veterans Committee.
Yeah.
And you get 12 votes, you get in. Lee Smith got 16. He's not a Hall of Famer either, but it's debatable. You have to get 12 out of the 16 to get in. Now, you know who...
Is Baines the first designated hitter in the history of Major League Baseball?
I had to think about that. He might be. But 2 years ago, Baines only got 4 votes. You know who the 4 new guys on the committee are this year? Reinsdorf, Russo, Pat Gillick, and Roberto Alomar.
Hometown decision.
And all of them either played or their coach managed or anything else. Baines, the highest MVP vote he's ever had, 9th. Not one black type by his name. Brent, you're a baseball guy.
Absolutely.
How is Harold Baines a Hall of Fame? And one other stat. You know, he was only on the writer's ballot for 5 years. You know why? Because he got less than 5% of the vote. You're allowed to be on the ballot for 15 in his day. He only was on for 5 years. His highest percentage of the writer's vote was 6.1%.
Wow.
And they put him in the Hall of Fame today.
Who else was considered? Anybody else?
Yeah, there was about 15 guys. You had to get 12 votes. Steinbrenner, Albert Bell, Hershiser, Will Clark, Lee Smith got in, Charlie Manuel, Davey Johnson.
Hershiser?
George Steinbrenner did not?
Did not get in.
That's ridiculous.
He did not get in.
George Steinbrenner should be in the Hall of Fame. What about, where's Barry Bonds standing?
Bonds is probably not going to get in because of the steroid issue. There's no steroids. Albert Bell should be in the Hall of Fame. How is Albert Bell? Now, he had 50 homers and 50 doubles. He's got black type all over the place. Albert Bell not in the Hall. Anyway, they didn't like Albert Bell. You know, the rubber balls and his bat and all that kind of nonsense. But the bottom line is, so I screamed and yelled.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, that's it. So I screamed and yelled on TV. They let me do it about Baines and about Lee Smith. So I'm doing the radio today for 4 hours, and 40 minutes ago, who walks by with the contingent but Reinsdorf and LaRussa, the radio set, and you can tell they were, where's Eddie Erickson? They were not pleased. You can tell.
So you're in the doghouse.
You're looking live!
Oh, my man.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
How you doing, Brent?
Biscuit. Come on. Doing awesome, kid.
You doing awesome?
You beat me this week in a football picks, 2-1 to 1-2.
I know I had Miami.
You know you missed on.
Who? Which one?
You took the Steelers. Shame on you.
I know I did. And, you know, if
and you said you hated to go against the Raiders, but you did.
I did. And I think, I watched the game with your little cohort over there, Vinny, all day yesterday. If, in fact, he did not get hurt and they didn't have to go to Josh Dobbs for those 4 series, I may have covered the game.
Yeah, but
14-10 at the half.
Did you ever watch games like that before?
Oh, it's great. I watched it back in the corner there, Brent.
It's the best.
The best.
It was with Chrissy and Jimmy and I.
Oh, it was fun. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Who ran your bets out?
I ran
He
around.
did. We got
You
him
ran
right.
when you went
Bro, what are you kidding? I did.
Got him right to the window.
I got him.
Did you get some of Michael Gunn's money?
They told me where to go, but I did it. Yes, I ran the bets. And I got a big break yesterday because, remember, I have the Patriots with you guys under 11.5.
Yes.
And I have the Browns with somebody else over 5.5. Browns win. They should get another one. They play Cincinnati.
Yeah, they'll beat
Patriots,
Cincinnati.
3 games. I will lay off it and hedge it because they play the Steelers this weekend. Is the line out for that game yet, Vin?
Which one? Steelers game? No.
Yeah. How come? We're waiting on.
Wait on Roethlisberger for sure.
Well, he's going to play.
I think so.
What's the line going to be?
They're going to be dog. It's going to be the Patriots.
2? I said 3.
Yeah, 3's a little.
You think they
Patriots are going to be favored.
really?
After yesterday? Yeah. And after history?
I said 3, and Vinny said you're crazy. It's about 2, 1.5. What I'm going to do, though, Brent, I have an open parlay available that I haven't used yet. I'm going to put it on New England. So if New England wins, I win double the parlay. And if New England loses, I'll lose the little parlay, but I'll collect from Vinny, which I will enjoy.
And I'll pay you with a smile. Because I know that you'll be right there reinvesting.
Yeah, you got that right. I got my ticket from the Lions, Arizona. You're looking live. How was the game yesterday? You enjoy it?
Awesome.
When do you fly out there? Friday?
I'd fly out on
Friday night?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday morning.
Go Saturday morning.
And you come
Southwest.
back on Monday?
Come back Monday morning.
Even if they have a, how about if they're playing on the East Coast, well, like this week, Cincinnati?
Well,
what are you going to do?
Then I have a private shuttle service called Hawaiian Air because the plane that takes the Raiders eastward comes from Honolulu to Las Vegas and then ferries empty over to Oakland to get the team. So I piggyback right over there. Then they bring the team back after the game, and then I bring the plane back to Oakland.
So you are on a plane that's nobody on it?
Yes.
On
yes.
a Hawaiian Air from
Except-
Oakland to Vegas?
Except an entire crew, all to myself. It's
Oh,
awesome.
my. Well, why don't they drop you off on the way to Oakland and save you a little trip?
Yeah, the players would like that.
Well, that's nice. So you get the Hawaiian Air, but how far is it from Oakland to Vegas via plane? About an hour?
About an hour and 15.
Oh, it's that far?
Yeah, it's just
an hour and 15?
It's just a little.
It's that far. Now, he went to Australia last year, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go, Brent? Because I lived there for a long time.
Did you really?
Yes, I went to school there. 1980.
didn't know that.
Sydney.
I went to Sydney. Arlene and I went to Sydney. I always, Mad Dog, wanted to visit the Opera House. It did not
That's a
disappoint.
beautiful building.
It's spectacular. Then we went to Melbourne, and then we went to the Rock, Ayers Rock.
Oh, you did go to Ayers Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I didn't go there.
Stayed out there. Wait a minute, you lived there and you didn't go to Ayers
Well,
Rock?
I went to school. You know where I went for? I had a week off at the end of I was a junior in college. You know where I went for the week? I rented a camper van with
Right.
3 other guys and drove around Tasmania.
Oh, how was Tasmania? Arlene and I did go to Tasmania.
So I flew to Hobart,
Right,
got a
Hobart,
van,
right.
slept 3, and for 8 days we were off at the end of the school year. We drove around Launceston. We went to where Errol Flynn was born, and all around. And I was there when John Lennon was killed. Picked it up on the Australian radio in 1980.
Were they betting on American sports during that time at all?
I don't think they were. I don't think.
I was just going to say, how did you get down?
Yeah, I will tell you, Matt. The NBA has become a big thing in
Oh,
Australia.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I can. You were there a good 3 weeks, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you enjoyed it,
really
right?
enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
It's a
I
great
loved it.
great country.
And then previously we've been to New Zealand, and I liked that too.
So you made a New Zealand trip on a prior vacation?
Yeah, separate.
Oh, you didn't do the both
We
at the
didn't
same
do both
time?
of them. Nope.
Good for you.
Went separately to Steve. Drove around New Zealand.
This is one of the great guys. This is my,
He's the best.
he worked with my partner forever. The other way around. My partner worked with him forever for years and years and years and years and years. And he is one of the reasons why there's a Mike and a Mad Dog, because he told Mike when FAN just started, Mike, you'd be great at this talk radio stuff. You got to call him. This is in '87.
Right.
Brent told Mike to call. Mike called and got a job. 2 years later, we start Mike and the Mad Dog.
Yep,
How about that?
Mike
That is a
Francesa.
true story.
He was. They paired Mike with me when CBS got the
College basketball.
NCAA tournament,
because
right,
he was more of an expert. I was into the NBA, so then they brought in the college basketball game and the tournament, and Mike was great help. But interestingly enough, he had been used as a sort of a substitute over at the station. And they had talked to him if he'd want to do more things there. We were driving back from Philadelphia, an NBA game, Dr. J and the Sixers. And that's just what Mad Dog said. I said you'd be a natural. And so they paired him with
About
you.
a year or so later.
And
right.
they were terrific.
Absolutely.
And I remember
in New
when
York.
Brent came in, this is probably maybe 89 or 90, Brent came in to do the show. He came on for an hour. He was covering something. And Mike was so nervous that he had Brent in the studio. And I loved it because Brent was my hero. I loved it. And Brent won't remember it, but I do. And Brent was so nervous because he's got his guy who knows more about sports than Mike does, who's the reason why Mike's there. And Brent and I carried the whole thing, and Mike didn't say a word for an hour and a half.
He was very quiet.
You remember that, Brent?
Oh, I remember how quiet he was.
Oh, he was so
I said there was
quiet.
something wrong. Me and the dog. Just-
And Brent didn't know me that well.
I was looking live. Mad Dog.
And then I had him when I started on Sirius. I covered the Oklahoma Florida championship game.
Okay.
So I flew, this is in 08, 10 years ago. So I flew down to Fort Lauderdale. I had just started, and I did 3 or 4 shows at that Bell Harbor Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, and Brent called the game. And Brent came down to do 30 minutes, because I had lost track with Brent, had in my mind, came out in 30 minutes, afternoon before the game, and said I was in Montana, driving around Montana, and on my dashboard it said, Mad Dog Radio, what is this all about? Because he did not quite realize that I had left to go over to Sirius XM.
True story.
And that's
a true story.
It's your network, 62.
Well,
Sirius
it's not
62,
mine.
right?
82.
Oh, it's yours. 82.
It was 5 years ago, and I gave up all the management thing because that's a pain in the neck, as you would know better than anybody. But Brent, you came on. I was all by myself in Oklahoma. Brent came down. I said, Brent, I need you. He came down. He gave me 30 minutes. He says, I'm driving around Montana in the summertime. I have on my dashboard, Mad Dog Radio, that kind of stuff. Oh, it's great. We loved everything.
And now we listen to him on MLB Network.
That's right.
And we talk about football on Friday.
We simulcast on Friday.
Simulcast.
Right? How about that?
The 2 networks.
There you go.
Now, how long will you be covering the baseball meetings? They run
Thursday,
all
through
week?
Thursday. Yeah, I'll be there through Thursday.
Okay, through Thursday. Will there be announcements of trades?
Well, I don't think Harper's going to sign. I actually have Boris on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, so that tells you that he's not going to sign. So you have Boris with Harper. You have Dan Lozano with Machado. Both those will not sign. I think the big thing that will happen, 2 things that could happen this week. When Rio Muto, the Marlin catcher, could get traded, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Indians pull off a deal for Kluber.
Okay, now
Those 2.
Jorge, have the guys put up the World Series futures here for Mad Dog to look at. Okay,
See if I can find a
the
team.
South
I like.
Point. Yeah, see, there are the numbers. Okay, and obviously we got the Red Sox, the Astros.
Well, you got to
and
look
the
for a good
Dodgers.
price. You know what the good price I'd buy there?
Go ahead.
I take the Nationals at 10-1.
Then even without.
Without Harper?
Well, they got Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin. The Nationals, that division's not impossible.
Okay.
They're a good front office. They will spend money in the middle of the season. And with Scherzer and Strasburg, you'll be in a pennant race. And if you get in a pennant race, who knows? And they are due. You know how these baseball things are. They're due to get hot in a short series.
What about the Braves? Don't you like what they've
could take
done?
them, too.
Right? 12-1.
You
right?
could take
And
the
if you like
Braves.
if you like the Nationals at 10-1, don't you like the Braves at 12?
Yes, you could take that.
Right.
You also could take the Mets at 30-1.
Sure. Well, if they get
I
Muto.
look.
right?
You know, I did 2 of these. Did you know that? I did. I don't think I've told Brent this. I did 2 of these futures. One in 2010. I had my brother-in-law come out to Vegas. I said, "Do me a favor. You got to put $5,000. What the hell? Put on the Giants. 18-1.
Okay.
No, it's 13-1. It was 13-1. What happens? Giants beat Texas, win the World Series. I got a check. They didn't take any taxes out. I got the check for $46,000. That was one. I mean, I think it was $2,500. And then 2 years ago, Brent,
Right.
20-1 Indians. I put $5,000 in the Indians, and then I hedged it.
When they were
and
in the Cubs, against the Cubs?
And then I hedged it and took the Cubs in the World Series because I didn't think the Indians could beat the Cubs. And I won half my bet back because they had the Cubs. Those are see, Brent, I am not a dope when it comes to making. That's a good
can
play.
tell.
isn't it
He's
not?
an investor.
Yeah.
Mad
Not
Dog,
bad, right? Not bad.
Mad Dog, how about for a price the A's at 25-1?
Yeah, you could definitely take them. They don't have the dominant pitching. You know, I like to take the teams that if they get into the postseason, they have 2 or 3 pitchers that could dominate a short series. Oakland doesn't have that kind of pitching, so that's why that. And plus the fact you got to do something else too. As a sports fan, do you want to watch the Oakland A's play 162 games? You know, plus for me on the East Coast, I don't want to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning. The Nationals are local, so I can do them.
Great. Stay right here.
I love it, Brent.
Because
You win.
we want to take a look at Week 15. The lines are out in the National Football League with Mad Dog. Back live, VSiN.com, Sirius XM 204.
It's My Guys in the Desert with Brent Musburger, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Keep up to date with everything in the world of sports gaming by going online at VSiN.com.
For me, it's always college basketball because there's so many games that go on. They start early in the season. You're still focused on the football season when the college basketball season starts. So for me, it's always been college basketball, just so many teams.
I I think when it's the hardest sport to handicap, I think from our side of the counter, it's baseball because there's not a point spread involved. It's just picking winners. And I think you look at the public and they're going to say, or the bettors, that that's the easiest sport for them because in so many cases you have kind of the haves and the have-nots. It's much easier to bet streaks. And you're not just betting teams in some cases, you are betting pitchers as well. Historically, baseball has been one of our lowest hold percentages. And from our side of the counter, I think in many cases difficult to handicap.
I would say right now it might be the NFL because the lines are so good. The lines are so tight. There's so much liquidity in the marketplace that if you're off at all, people are going to take advantage of it. And now in 2018 NFL, a lot of these NFL games come down to one singular play or one singular call by the officials. Perfect example, Baltimore Ravens, Oakland Raiders today. Oakland down 10 at 11.5 to 13-point underdogs, down 10 late in the game, decide to go for it on fourth down rather than punt the football. Derek Carr hit, fumbles the ball, returned by the Ravens. So many of these games in the NFL are determined by just one singular play, and the lines are so tight. I always think the NFL is the hardest sport to handicap.
Well, probably college basketball the first few weeks, only because you have new people coming in there. Naturally, the seniors are leaving, but the one and done and stuff like that. But obviously, you know that your power teams are usually going to be about the same starting that year as opposed to the ending of the previous year. But with college basketball, and there are so many teams, so many games to keep up on all of them is really, really a task. So I would say college basketball, especially the first 3 weeks of the season, is the hardest part for us.
Now back to Sin City and My Guys in the Desert with the legend Brent Musburger, live on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, SiriusXM Channel 204, and VSiN.com.
The Mad Dog is in the house. Mad Dog Russo, great to have him in here live, covering the Major League Baseball meetings, MLB TV. You can watch him there. And, of course, he's on his own radio channel here. What channel?
82, Brent.
82. You can tune in to Mad Dog. What time's that show come on here?
3 to 7 here, but 3 to 6 in the East. So noon to 3 here.
Got it. Noon to 3.
I love the time of the games here, too. It's so much better.
It's awesome.
Oh, my God.
It is awesome.
5 o'clock sports.
Yep,
You're not
you
sitting
can't
up
beat
there
it.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, half asleep. Oh, my goodness.
We got to have time for blackjack.
In about 30 minutes, we've got
it's the
the
best thing.
Seahawks.
It's the best thing going.
Okay, now we've got Thursday night football. It's a beauty.
What's the line in that game?
It's a beauty. The Chargers go to Kansas City, rematch against the Chiefs. Vinny, what do we have?
We've got the Chiefs 3.5 and the total 52.5.
You got to take the Chargers. You take them on the money line if you take them because you root for an outright win. Plus, remember one thing I would say, teams off overtime games, they're a little flat the next week. Chiefs played that extra period yesterday, a little tired. I know it's a rivalry thing. I would do Chargers money line. Take a chance.
Okay.
You like that, guys, or not?
I do.
All right.
You like it too, don't you,
Yeah,
Mike?
I like the Chargers.
Yeah, and now Saturday, we got Saturday NFL football first time. Houston is in New York to play the Jets. Cleveland goes into Denver. Let's take those two games.
Here we go. We got Texans 6.5, 41.5 at the Jets. Now down to 6. So Jet money did show here at the South Point, and then the Broncos 3.5 against the Browns. 3.5. How about that?
I would take
Down to 3. Down to 3.
Down to 3.
Down to 3.
You know, the Broncos might be shot after that loss yesterday, so I would take a run at the Browns. I like it at 3.5 better. I think the Jets would be competitive. They don't have many home games left for Bowles. Donald played well yesterday. Houston never scores. Not enough. I take the points in the Jet game. Houston does not blow people out on the road. Redskins 23-21, overtime against the Colts. They do not blow people out on the road. So I would take I would take the points with the Jets. Brent?
I agree. The Jets cost me a perfect record in the Super Contest this week. I had the Bills, and the Jets came back. I love the way the Browns are playing. I'm not sure that they can handle the air and the trip into
That's a good
Denver.
point. Yep.
I'd be a little cautious about the Browns.
Well, if I had to. I didn't say
now.
we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on Sunday...
Go ahead, Mike. You want to...
Yeah, I want to ask about the Sunday game. You're probably leading right into it. But how about this Cowboys-Colts game on Sunday? I think this is a very interesting
I would
matchup.
take the Colts. What's the spread in that game?
Colts 3.
I would take the Colts. I would take Luck. You know what? I'm taking a better quarterback. and the same theme. The Cowboys are due to lose the game, and the same theme goes with them that it goes with the Chiefs. Overtime, big rival against the Eagles. Don't have to have the game. I would take the Colts.
I like this game under. You come out 46 and a half.
46 and a half.
Yeah, this Colts defense, has played better now, and the Dallas defense is legit too. So I thought this was a high number. I thought it'd be around 42. So I like the under there.
All right.
One of the more interesting games has the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers has owned the Chicago Bears. They go into the Windy City to play the favored Bears. What is that number? This money's going to come in on Green Bay before the week's over.
Well, Brent, it already did, actually. The game opened 6.5 this morning, down to 5.5.
Take the Packers. Take the points.
Weather's not going to be a factor in terms of affecting either of these teams. It's certainly, the Rams didn't want no part of the weather, I don't think, yesterday, but both of these teams here. But this is a rematch of the first week.
Yes,
Bears should have
won that game.
Should have won that game.
But I don't take Trubisky. I'll take the points. I'll tell you a game
better
that I love.
quarterback.
I'll tell you a game. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'll tell you a game that I love. What are the Giants this week? Tennessee.
They host the Titans.
I
and
love
they're
the Giants in the game.
2.5.
Take the Giants.
Later points.
Why do you like the Giants?
Tennessee never scores. Tennessee's not great on the road, and the Giants got a little mojo going right now. I think the Giants want to finish 8-8. I would take the Giants.
I think the Giants can get into the playoffs.
Not impossible that last spot.
Yeah, I really do.
Is Beckham back this week, or does it matter?
It does matter. I'm assuming it's not that big a deal that they play.
Quad, I would imagine he's going to be back. The other game that hurt them, Philly, a couple of weeks back. That was a big game.
It killed them.
That was a bad loss.
Now, here comes the key afternoon doubleheader game. The Patriots and the Steelers, both coming off tough losses.
Yeah. We're waiting to get confirmation on Roethlisberger. So
I told you what I would do. I parlay with the Pats, because I have them with you guys at 11.5.
Their regular season win.
Yeah, which I got a break of all kind because now I can get out of it. I think the Patriots will win the game. I don't think Belichick's going to lose a game after he lost that game yesterday. I'll bet the coach on that. Belichick's better than Tomlin. Tomlin never beats him. He's 2-7 lifetime.
That's right.
I'll take Belichick. You agree, Brent?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And I was so surprised about the last play. We've talked about it, having Gronkowski on the field. Tannehill was not going to throw a Hail Mary in that situation.
Sure
That's when Gronkowski's out there. You need some athletes who can tackle somebody. And then the Sunday night game on NBC is interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles go out west to play the Los Angeles Rams, both coming off tough losses.
Yeah, big number here, especially after yesterday. 9. Rams 9.
I wouldn't touch it, but I would take. If I had to, I'd take the Rams. I think the Eagles are not going to make the playoffs. I'll give up. The Rams will play better offensively. I'll take the Rams in this game. What is what's the Carolina Saint line?
The Saints on the road, 6.5.
And what is the Baltimore line with Tampa?
The Ravens are 8.
That's a lot. I like the Ravens. Tampa has a bad loss. Ravens have to win the game. I can see Baltimore win that game. Is there anything else they really like? Detroit, Buffalo. What else you got there, Brent? Anything else really interesting? Give me another game.
The Raiders and the Bengals.
Boy, oh boy. I take the Raiders. What's the spread?
+3.
Raiders are getting points in that game?
Yes, they are.
Oh, I would take the Raiders in that game.
There you go.
I love Brent. Money line. Forget the points. That's my philosophy, by the way, with lines. If it's 3 or less, I always take the money line.
If you like them to cover 3 or less, you like them to win the game in all likelihood.
Right.
Yeah.
3.5, I'll debate it. But 3, I like. Mike, you agree with that?
I do also.
Yeah,
I like to take those teams at the 2.5.
The money lines. You guys are the professionals. This is. I'm not that bad. I'm a little better than I thought.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good, Mike. You've got a future in this business. Listen, this update for the New York Post. Odell Beckham made an appearance in the Giants' locker room this afternoon. Moved without any discernible issue. Did not play against the Redskins with that bruised quad that Vinny told you about. Quote, Odell came in, felt a lot better than he did Friday and Saturday. He received treatment. This is from Coach Shermer. So we'll see what takes us. Too early to tell, but this sounds pretty optimistic. He gave a thumbs up to reporters. Beckham did. Okay? Now, before we close, I want to go back to my man's issue of the day, Harold Baines.
Oh, yes, sir. Boy.
Who is ranked in most polls as 5th or 6th best designated hitter of all time. So after breaking into the majors as a right fielder in 1980 at the age of 21, he became a near full-time DH in 1987 at the relatively young age of 28. Though his career statistics don't jump off the page to most fans, he was a consistent performer for more than 2 decades in the AL. He retired as the career leader in hits, 1,688, and home runs, 236, as a DH, though David Ortiz holds both records now. He also retired 10th in American League history with 1,628 RBIs, finished in the top 20 of the AL MVP voting 4 times, hit 20 or more home runs 11 times, collected more than 90 RBIs 8 times, including surpassing 100 in 3 years. Overall, Baines ranks 32nd all-time with 1,628 RBIs and 45th with 2,866 career hits. So now you know the other side of the story.
Man, good job, Brent. You fought me off well there. But no black type by his name. So never, 1 year he led the league in slugging. He played 22 years in the major leagues. His highest MVP was 9th. And not one time in his 22 years did he lead the league in homers, batting average, walks, runs scored, on-base percentage, not one time. I can't put it. The Hall of Fame is not for the very good. The Hall of Fame is for the great. Brent, he is not a great player. You know that.
So,
and you're a baseball guy.
Oh, yeah. DH players who are rated ahead of him, and this just one particular is a lot of them. Frank Thomas, Paul Molitor,
right?
Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, 3 better players.
And David Ortiz.
4 better players.
And I would say that all 4 of those go to the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of up in the air on Baines, but listen, the Hall of Fame lost me. Follow me on this one. I believe that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
And at the bottom of the plaque, it should say he was suspended in the year for gambling on baseball.
You're right.
I don't know why we ignore the history. I mean, he's still the hit king. I mean, it doesn't.
We got steroid guys in there. I mean, you know.
Absolutely.
Put him in.
And we're going to have more.
No, we're going to have a lot more. Yeah, but he's not going to get in. I mean, to me, it's a disgrace. It's a joke. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm with you 100% on that. They're not going to budge on that one, though.
Okay, give me a guess, and it's simply a guess, about where Bryce Harper, with this $300 million 10-year plus contract that Mr. Boris is looking for. Give me your best guess, Mad Dog.
First off, I wouldn't rule out returning to the Nationals.
Okay.
I had Mike Rizzo on TV today. He wouldn't rule it out. I don't think the Dodgers will go there because I don't think they want to spend $350 million on him. So I would say the Phillies. And that's an easy one because that's the only team that's... A lot of people think it's the Phillies negotiating against the Phillies. That's the only team he's got available.
Okay, you've still got time. Go out there and bet the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Mad Dog was with us. You were
Vinny?
listening live to Mad Dog Russo here on VSiN. So long, everybody.
It's My Guys in the Desert with Brent Musburger, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Keep up to date with everything in the world of sports gaming by going online at VSiN.com.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
You know where we got our ass kicked, Brent? Is the first season with the USFL, because we didn't have a clue.
Right.
But we had to throw numbers up there because you had to do something with the strike and USFL and all the rest of the stuff. We lowered the limits, but if we broke even for the week, everybody was satisfied. The Smarts had it way, way ahead of us as far as that was concerned way back when.
They had some great players in there. Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, we have some humongous breaking news this morning. Humongous.
Redskins claimed Hunt?
This is as big as it gets.
Oh, no.
Yep.
How do you have it? There's nothing on the TV.
No, I got it right now. Urban Meyer stepping down.
Oh, there we go.
His last game is going to be the Rose Bowl against Washington.
All right.
Twitter is breaking as we speak. And
who has it?
Tip of the cap to Paul Stone for alerting me to that. But now I'm seeing it everywhere. 54 years old.
Who's reporting? I don't see it anywhere.
It's all over. It's everywhere. Yahoo Sports, Pete Thamel has it. Sources, Urban Meyer to step down as Ohio State head coach after the Rose Bowl. Wow, there's your big boy.
Flesh that out for us, in case someone didn't understand what you were saying there. That your